Before you keep watching, I need you to do something simple. Just choose one bird. Not the most beautiful one, not the rarest one, just the one your eyes land on first. Don't overthink it, just choose and remember it. Because by the end of this video, something about that bird will change. You won't notice it immediately. In fact, at first, everything will feel completely normal. Different birds, different places. Some are bright, some are quiet, some disappear into the background before you even realize they were there. And the one you chose feels exactly the same. Nothing special, just another bird. But the moment you decide to remember it, something shifts. Not in the bird itself, in you. Now you're not just watching anymore, you're comparing. Without realizing it, your attention keeps returning to that one image in your mind. Its shape, its color, the way it stood. And every new bird you see, you measure it against that memory. At first, it's subtle, almost automatic. But then something strange happens. You see another bird, and for just a second, it feels familiar. Not identical, but close enough to slow you down. You don't question it, not yet, because it's easy to explain. Birds can look alike, patterns repeat. Nature does that all the time. So you keep watching. But now there's a small hesitation, a quiet thought forming in the background. What if it wasn't just similar? What if it was the same? That doesn't make sense. And yet, the next time it happens, you notice it faster.
This time, you pause for a moment longer. Another bird appears. Different place, different light, but something about it feels connected. And now your mind doesn't let it go so easily. Because once something repeats, it stops being sluchinem. It becomes a pattern, and your brain is built to recognize patterns, even when they don't fully make sense. So you keep watching more carefully, not just seeing, but searching, looking for details, for similarities, for anything that confirms that strange feeling. And the more you look, the more you start noticing things you didn't before. The way certain birds stand, the way their heads tilt, the way their presence feels in the frame. It's not just how they look, it's how they exist. And that's harder to explain. Because now it's no longer about visual similarity, it's about recognition. A deeper kind. The kind that makes you feel like you've seen something before, even when you can't prove it. And that feeling keeps growing, slowly, quietly, until you reach a point where every new bird carries a question. Is this the one, or just another one that reminds me of it? And the more you ask that question, the harder it becomes to answer it. Because now the difference between them feels smaller than it should. And that's when it starts to get uncomfortable. Because you're no longer sure if you're recognizing something real or creating the pattern yourself. And once that doubt appears, it doesn't go away. It stays and follows you into the next moment.
Now you're watching differently, more focused, more aware. Every detail matters, every movement, every pause, because somewhere in your mind, you're trying to confirm something you still can't fully explain. And the strange part is, you don't need it to be obvious. Even the smallest similarity is enough. A shape, a posture, a feeling, and that's all it takes for your attention to lock in again. You see another bird, and this time you hesitate immediately, because now the idea is already there. You're expecting it, and expectation changes everything. It changes how you see, how you interpret, how you connect things that might not actually be connected. And yet, it feels real. That's what makes it powerful. Because whether it's true or not, your experience of it is real. And that experience keeps building, layer by layer, moment by moment, until eventually you stop noticing the differences completely and start focusing only on what feels the same. And that's when everything begins to blend, not visually, but mentally. And once that happens, the question becomes impossible to ignore. Was it always like this? Or did something change when I started paying attention? Because now it feels different, not in the birds, in the way you're seeing them. And that realization is where it all shifts again.
Because now, it's not just about the birds anymore. It's about your attention, about what you choose to focus on, and what happens after you do. You remember the one you picked at the beginning, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to keep comparing, enough to keep questioning. And now, every time you see something similar, it feels stronger, more convincing, as if the pattern is becoming clearer, even though nothing has actually changed. And that's the strange part, because the video hasn't changed, the birds haven't changed, but your experience of them has. And once you notice that, it becomes impossible to ignore. Because now, every moment feels intentional, every placement, every appearance, every similarity. It all feels like part of something larger, something structured, even if you can't fully define it. And that structure creates a loop. You look, you compare, you recognize, you question, and then you repeat, again and again, until eventually you stop asking if it's the same bird and start asking a different question. Why does it feel like it is? And that question is much harder to answer, because it doesn't depend on what you see, it depends on how you feel about what you see. And that's something much deeper, something that doesn't go away easily, something that stays with you, even as everything else continues. Now we're close to the end, so I want you to think back, not to the beginning of the video, but to the moment you made your choice. That one bird, the one you decided to remember. You've been holding on to it this whole time, even when you didn't realize it. Comparing, matching, searching, trying to see if it appears again. And now ask yourself something simple. Did you see it? Not exactly the same, but close enough, familiar enough, enough to make you pause. Because if you did, then something happened, something subtle, something that didn't change the video, but changed the way you experienced it. And if you didn't, then think about why it felt like you might have. Because that feeling didn't come from nowhere. It came from the way your mind connects things, from the way it searches for patterns, from the way it tries to make sense of what it sees. And once that process starts, it doesn't just stop. It continues, even after the video ends, even after you look away. Because now, every time you see another bird, you'll remember this moment. And that one question will return. Have I seen this before? And that question changes everything. Because now, it's no longer about the video. It's about you. About how you see, how you notice, how you connect things that may or may not be connected. And that ability is what creates the experience you just had. Not the birds, not the scenes, but your perception of them. The way your mind held on to one image and started finding it everywhere, even when it wasn't there. Or maybe, especially when it wasn't. And that's what makes it stay. Because now, the next time your eyes land on something familiar, you won't be completely sure why. You'll just feel it. That slight hesitation, that quiet recognition, that moment where something feels known before you can explain how. And that moment is the same one you experienced here, just in a different form. So now, one last time, think about the bird you chose. Not how it looked, not where it was, but how it felt. Because that feeling is the only thing that remained consistent, the only thing that connected everything. And once you understand that, you realize something simple. It was never about finding the same bird again. It was about how easily your mind believed that you did. And once that happens, you don't just see things differently, you experience them differently. And that's something that doesn't go away, not completely. Because from now on, every familiar moment will carry a question, and every question will carry that same feeling, the one you noticed here, the one you almost ignored, the one that made you pause just for a second longer than usual.